Welcome to our first patrons only game that we've done in a while, actually. Been kind of dropping the ball on that. I'm a terrible friend, I'm a terrible person, but enough about my own self deprecation. So, we're playing Girl by Moonlight tonight, and the specific kind of narrative beat that we've elected is Animes of Dreams. Um, the questions that are typical of kind of a lead up to uh, these stories have already been kind of worked at. Um, the main kind of thrusts for the narrative that we want to make sure that we understand together, kind of pay attention to as a whole, is that there is a toxic cultural movement primarily focused in an online space where um, this impulse that drives people towards self destruction that is basically being propagated by online gestalt personalities um, who are infecting individuals through fashion and ritual um, is ingratiating itself amongst your number. We've discussed primarily what the kind of archetypes of your characters are. Um, and we'll discuss that a bit more as we kind of lead into it. I want to make sure that we understand that from the onset of what we will call the story, um, it should be the case that you are all in some way, shape, or form connected to one another. Now, that can be through connections with one another. So, for example, Kimmy could be best friends with Spockley's character and also know Elizabeth, but Spockley could have no real connection with Elizabeth. The connections do not have to be fully uh, branched through everyone. It can be connections that are single party. Um, and we discussed a bit about that in the lead up to. Now, in this narrative, we also have an understanding that there's the waking world and the dream world. The dream world seems to be this, so far as you'll understand it in the kind of beginning portions of it, this space where um, you feel like others have infected this space and are utilizing it for purpose. Um, in that, they are shaping dreams similar to how anybody shapes dreams, but in a more broad scope, um, into kind of a more connected mentality, a surveillance state that even kind of brachiates into the kind of nested hierarchy of the self and the psyche. Um, you folks are individuals who have learned how to break past the material and enter into the dreams world as a kind of manifestation of your inner self, or perhaps, again, your relationship with your um, dream state is going to be your own to formulate, and they can be wildly different. I believe in the kind of pre-generated characters, there's one that's like a glowing moonlight queen, and then there's one that's like a little imp guy. So again, those are yours to formulate as we continue into the beats here. Um, so you already have your play books already set, correct? You are all determined on what our characters are and what they do as far as like your role or playbook. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and define those, and then let's discuss also kind of a bit about the characters in a general sense. And this also will utilize the language we utilized in formation, where we discussed these kind of um, positions or kind kind of roles effectively that you're taking on, these archetypes that you're taking on as a part of the narrative. We'll go ahead and start with the reason we're playing this game, to be honest. So, Fakli, go ahead and tell us about your character a bit, and also,
Wow, way to erase Steve. Um,
Steve's not here.
from a world, from the world,
Steve's
this
not here.
world.
Steve's not here.
I know you've erased him.
He
So
didn't want to
no,
talk.
I know. Okay, so I guess so. My character's name is Colleen. She works at the morgue as an assistant to the coroner. She is a weary caretaker. She's kind of, I guess, wearily, you know, um, preparing the dead, I guess. And I think in her work, she discovers markings, could be tattoos on skin, it could be labels on clothes, maybe both. Um, and kind of begins to connect the dots and is able to form um a gateway um that will allow her to like transcend and inhabit dream space as her avatar, who kind of just looks like her but with a um like a black mask covering the entirety of her face, um and I don't know, wearing a hat,
Okay.
and maybe kind of wearing more um kind of uh, a fuller, bulkier, you know, temp, you know, chronologically inappropriate outfit versus the usual um, drab and normal outfit of her day to day.
Dream Space is sluttier. That's what I hear.
It is not sluttier. There's no titties out. There's no booty out, but there's more volume to the clothes actually,
Oh,
and they're totally, and she's covered modestly.
She's OTT,
sorry.
She's OTT.
over
I
the top.
Yeah, I misunderstood.
Right.
I didn't understand it was a coordinate. I thought it was when you said volume. I was like, ba ba boom kind of thought process.
Oh, you're thinking kill
I
la kill.
Yeah,
Hmm.
not
Okay.
yeah. Fair, fair, fair. Okay, so let's discuss a bit real quick because there was something that was mentioned in that part that I want to make sure that we pay attention to, and we also
Hmm.
understand more about. So the thought process was that you kind of learned about the conspiracy, the kind of secret society, this group of individuals who are trying to drive people towards their own self demise. Um, and I think that works. But what I think is more interesting is that the reason why that you're able to see them isn't because of a mark that's left on them. No. I don't think there would be any kind of like ritualistic markings that would be kind of left on the person other than like the fashion kind of sense that they're left with. Um,
Hmm.
I would think that since you're already kind of on the borderlands of entering into dream spaces, it might be the case that this gatekeeper, as you so named yourself, is
Hmm.
able to see the last dream of a dead body. Like they're
Ooh.
able to
Okay.
kind of understand like the like desires and the goals and aspirations of an individual who winds up in your morgue. And so this allows you to kind of like, as a mortician, like or sorry, rather, as a person who works in a morgue, not specifically a mortician, your job is to kind of calculate like what the cause of death is. And I think
Hmm.
that the reason why that you might be so good at this job or have maintained it for a decent amount of time is because of this empathy, or rather this connection. And also, it could be the case too that because of that, like because of you being able to kind of see into the conspiracy in this way, the conspiracy somehow finds out about it, and that's why you become a target of this conspiracy. That's why they care at all, because you raised your head too high and allowed them to kind of see you, either in the dream space or in the real.
Well, if you peer into the conspiracy peers back.
Correct. It is very much about surveillance, as we noted.
Yep.
Okay, so I like that. That could be why you're a target of the conspiracy. Now let's focus on that other role. If we want to just throw it off to the wayside, we can. You had weary caretaker listed as one of the kind of archetypes. Is that one you want to maintain? And if so, what are you thinking is kind of what do you think we're like going to do with that?
Well, I think about two things. I think one, as an assistant to the coroner, caretaking of bodies and of dreams as they end or as they, kind of flow out into dream space or whatever, but then also keeping of a gate.
Mm.
So I think I think like the daily me, the daily Colleen is just, you know, doing her best to get, these bodies that were once people from point A to point B, but gatekeep tricks Lafania is in charge of this gate that's opening and of whether or not it needs to remain closed or whether or not it needs to be repaired or whatever that l- looks like or
Yeah,
could look like.
let's focus on the gate a little bit. So
Hmm.
we understand the gate to mean like what precisely? I have an idea in my head. If you don't have an idea of what you mean by the gate,
I have like in my mind, it's very like, I don't know, card captor Sakura, right? Like this visually thing that is created, with sigils and light in the air, and it like opens like a mirror from one space into another.
I guess I mean to say, is the
Hmm.
gate your means of entering into the dream space, or is the gate a gate that is in the dream space to somewhere else?
Mm,
Because the way I'm thinking of it is this
yeah.
gate exists in the dream space where Lafanya exists, and as these dreams, these final kind of visions of the dead are kind of flowing through your eyes, and you're feeling empathy towards them, or possibly disdain. Right? Like not everybody who dies is going to have dreams that are worthwhile.
Hmm.
Perhaps it's the case that Lofanya's reaction to the dream sometimes determines whether these dead dreams continue into the gate or not.
So they flow into the dream and then into dream space and then maybe through the gate or not.
Yeah, and again, what's beyond the gate is not known, right? Like
Right.
we don't want to delve too much into that. But
Yeah.
for whatever reason, like the ones that Lafanya, like as she's done this for a while, the ones that she seems to kind of feel sorry for, like these dreams unrealized, and she kind of feels like a pang of sadness in her heart. Maybe it's those ones she's noticed more and more are the ones that kind of slip into this gate versus the ones she kind of like, you know, these squandered, lives that are being held by these people who are maybe more selfish or, yeah,
Melancholic and sweet dreams pass through. Cruel dreams and greedy dreams don't.
right. And that's why
Okay, cool. I love that.
she kind of feels that name or that title rather, because Lafanya obviously being the name. Um, the gatekeeprix is obviously something that she's kind of coined herself, I would say, but it feels right.
Mm.
Um, okay, good, good, good. Anything else you want to add to Pockley before I torture somebody else?
I don't. Thank you.
Okay, so then we'll go ahead and do. Da, 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 da. I'm pretty sure Zach is currently speed reading, and I know Kimmy stayed up until the middle of the night. I'm sure Elizabeth is also doing a little bit of reading based on her eyes darting side to side, so I'll let Kimmy go.
Wow.
I know Kimmy was up in the middle of the night because she did exactly what you did, Elizabeth. She's like, "Oh my god, my character sheet, wah!" And I'm like, "You could take a pre-generated character, just don't take Mole." And she's like, "No, fuck that! I'm building this shit." And then she sent me a message at like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. and she's like, "Okay, I think I got it. What do I do now?" I'm like, "I don't know, man."
Honestly, you're a better woman than I.
Same.
Oh, okay, hold on. I got weird sleep hours, okay? So I took a nap and then I jumped back up and I was like, oh, let me go build this character real quick.
Fair,
I had
fair.
a meeting at 9 a.m. There was no way.
There was no way. So I think Margot was the character sheet that you had, right?
Yeah, Margot.
Okay, so let's go ahead and have a description of that as well.
Okay, so my character is a reformed conspirator, but also the best friend. So the the way that I imagine Margot is in the waking world, she's like very she works in like a business atmosphere, right? But she's like little man on the totem pole, pencil pusher. She just sits at her computer desk with, wearing her glasses, and hardly anyone ever notices her. She's just part of it. And so I haven't really thought out how I meet Sapakli's character, because I know I was supposed to be like
So I will
going
say,
after them to turn them, right?
yeah, you have Reformed Conspirator as one of the
Mhm.
archetypes you selected. So
Mhm.
with that, I kind of have to tip my hand a little bit to make sure that you understand a little bit more about the conspiracy. What would be kind
Yeah.
of considered low level, because I don't think you would be high level into it. So I want to make sure that we understand that the conspiracy is obviously not something that exists in real life. However,
Mhm.
it will take elements from real life that I think we'll all be kind of familiar with in kind of our understanding in space.
Mhm.
So we're all kind of familiar with like the mentality of online Gestalt personalities, right? We know that terminology? We understand what that means.
Yeah.
It's basically people who are like these online gurus or teachers who are effectively trying to kind of tell you, how to live your life and what to do to strive or, be better. We have it in our current, landscape of online kind of perception in the forms of the manosphere being one kind of object that kind of, leans to it. We have an understanding of people who are a little bit more kind of uh, Tumblr brained, I guess is the best way to describe that. Who kind of fester or strive, depending on how you look at it, in their own kind of like area or corner of the internet. You have your Instagrams, you have your Twitter, which I don't suggest, but like they're very much like different kind of understandings of these kind of communal groups who almost inevitably will have someone who rises as a person who is a figurehead for these groups, an individual who's able to kind of garner attention and kind of drive a community or drive a community in a specific direction. Now, the importance of our community is that they kind of tackle three different things. First off, they want to drive individuals to self destruction. That can mean a lot of things. It can mean their own personal self destruction or a self destruction of the community as a whole. A working towards this kind of self fulfilling prophecy of doom. And the way that they infect people, per our pregame material, is through fashion and ritual. So, my thought process on this, and again, the conspiracy is shaped, but there's definitely things that I'm going to put forward that if they are, crossing a line or if they are something that you're not interested in kind of perceiving, I do have backups. My thought process is that this conspiracy is led by a charismatic individual who is very neutral in their understanding of the world and wants to basically strive everybody into understanding both sides and focusing on a kind of middle line understanding of pretty much every engagement, argument, or discussion. It's called the way of balance. And they believe that if you remain neutral and do not strive to kind of push yourself to any extreme, be it political or in fandom or in any kind of other thing, then you'll strive in life. Obviously, it's a self-destructive course because you're kind of not really doing anything, you're not propagating anything in that space. But that's not something that the people who are being kind of commandeered by this toxic cultural movement are really seeing. And basically, it's a neutrality to the point of trying to force everyone into this middle ground space. Thoughts on the conspiracy? Is everybody okay with the conspiracy as defined, or does anybody have anything they would like to add to it?
I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
I think so. There's this like focus on balance, on like like ultra mega centrism in culture, in politics, in life, in business, and everything. My question is how does that uh like link in with fashion and ritual,
Sure.
or
So
does it matter yet?
it will matter. So the
Okay.
fashion aspect of it is that they are very much of a mind to dress in the status quo. So if bubble jackets are in fashion for winter, everybody in they're talking about bubble jackets. We're gonna get those bubble jackets out there. If labubus are the thing, people who like labubus and people who don't like labubus are going to be kind of at odds. So for the conspiracy here, labubus are bad because there's a dichotomy. Now, nobody hates just boring Gap fashion. I mean, obviously you're not going to wear it because it's whatever. It's not for you. But there are people who do, and there are not many people who are so opposed to it that they're like actually formulating opinions online about it. So these kind of positions, these kind of fashion positions, are what are upheld. And then the ritual aspect of it is that when you're engaging with people online, you're not trying to draw somebody from a position closer to another position. You're just saying your position's fine, no matter what it is, and saying nothing towards it. Everything is okay at once. So the ritual is a constant, like, um, prostrating yourself to other people's kind of desires and fanaticism, but to the point where you're actually showing yourself to be the reasonable or rational individual. Like you're not trying to change people's minds. You're just saying, well, that's fine, and everything's fine.
So the ritual then is like it's like being a bot and
Yeah.
just like going online and reflecting back whatever people are saying at any given moment and sort of vacating your own mind of opinion or
Right. Exactly.
okay,
Which again is
got it.
self-destructive, but it's also
Yeah.
self-destructive on kind of like a grander scale, right? So the community is obviously faltering and falling apart because the only drive is listen to what conspiracy leaders say. Now, there's not just one conspiracy leader; there's several. But
Mhm.
I want to make sure too that, like, obviously we won't be exploring all of them tonight. There will be room in the future if we like it, and yeah, we'll move forward with that. The
Cool.
prime suspect for you, though, just so we take notes here, and it's someone that you, Kimmy, would know. You said you worked for a company, correct? And
Mhm.
the company you said was what kind of job was it?
It was just I didn't label it. It was just your everyday business company.
Okay. So what you would know is that the company is actually known as a company called Embrace. And Embrace does create a series of fashion elements. Whoa, Green Cat. Am I still on here? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He
You're
tried.
good.
He tried to jump up onto the desk and missed. That's the second time a cat has jumped from the desk and has missed and almost killed me with their claws. I need a second, just a second. Stop it. Get some help. Okay. So, embrace.
Are we
is
looking for better help?
Yeah, now we're with them. We of course get ads. The
Always.
company's called Embrace, and so you would know that they make like outward facing. They make a series of fashion elements, but you would also know that they also incorporate inside these fashion elements and kind of merchandise that they sell. Dream shaping products that actually kind of alter the dreams and goals and aims of those who have been kind of corrupted in this way. And this project, the kind of underhanded project, is called Project Alter.
Alder or alter?
Alter, Alter. Not alder like alderman. I don't see how that was. Although maybe next time. I'll think of a cool story for government shenanigans. Okay, so focusing back up. Sorry for heckling that.
That's what I heard.
idea. It's fine. I didn't enunciate. It's totally fair. So, the understanding that you have is that the person who you were kind of working underneath is kind of like a leader, one of the individuals I've mentioned, and she's kind of like a God, what's her name? The vagina egg girl or lady.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth Paltrow. She's kind of like a Gwyneth Paltrow type. Okay, she is.
Wait, what's the name?
I haven't named her yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries. What should her name be? Do you have any ideas?
Gwyneth Paltrow.
We
No,
can't. We can't do that. I don't think we can do that. Hold on. Gwyneth Paltrow name generator.
Kenneth Galtro.
God damn.
I think her first name should be the name of a tree.
Okay, I typed white lady
Like
name generator.
The alder tree.
Yeah. What about Rowan?
Oh my God.
Rowan or
Her last name is
Eve.
Alder. We're just gonna go with that right away because
yeah,
Ivy.
Alder.
that's too funny a bit. Her name is Blair Alder.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And she
Blair Witch Project.
is very much just like a kind of typical company lady, and the company does demand deep commitment from its employees. Of late, you've kind of pulled away from the corporation, the company, and you're kind of moving towards that. And the reason for why you had said you had started becoming friends with Colleen. So my question to you is why do you think that you would have become friends with her so readily?
Probably because she's so interesting and so like opposite of me. So, you gravitate towards what you want to be. So in my dreaming world, I would be more like her in her waking world.
Is that where we meet? In a dream?
Can we meet in a dream?
Sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be the case that this was your first living dream. Like you, again, have been seeing dreams of the dead for some time, undetermined amount of time, but a decent amount of time. And it could be the case that when she was trying to kind of engage with you to kind of bring you along into the fold, so to speak, you were able to kind of communicate and you were able to kind of, well, in that process, kind of were befriended by them. Okay. So we have an understanding of the reform conspirator portion. What are you doing to reform yourself this time? Are you kind of removing yourself from the job entirely, or are you still working at Embrace?
I think I'd still be working at Embrace, like trying to figure out how they're doing the things that they're doing. Uh, Maybe this is something me and Chloe, how how do I say it?
Choline.
Colleen, Colleen have talked about like where are we both aware of what they're doing?
You are. If you tell Colleen that's the case, then she would be. I assume that you would.
Yeah, absolutely. Be
Yeah.
very transparent, and then it's like we know that they're doing wrong things, so together we would want to try to get more information how they're doing it.
Okay. So the reform portion is you're still working there, but you're effectively espionage mode. You are
Mhm.
you're turncoating, and you're moving into kind of a more um, bring down the system situation. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So now we have two pre-generated characters next, and they kind of have connections with the story as written. However, I do want to make sure that if there's anything in there that we want to change, we can. There's no set in stone anything in any of the Evil Hat games. So, whichever one of you two wishes to start, um, we can go with that.
Okay.
Uh, I I guess I could go. Uh, I chose the Pregen Mole. Uh, she is a senior software engineer at Embrace.
Mm.
I don't know who this Fae person is.
Sure.
That is
So you would
Pregen.
actually know, and this is something that Kimmy's character, Margot, does not know. Faye is the name of the spirit form or dream form of Blair Alder.
Mm,
Her avatar in Dream Space is Faye.
okay. So she shares Faye's interest in shaping dreams. And as a child, she merged her psyche with Deed being of the dream. And they're very intelligent and creative. Um, they were at one point collaborators, and I'm guessing like maybe friends within the dream, but then the project broke apart because there were some Mole had some criticisms that kind of wedged between them, and uh, that's created a lot of tension between her and Faye. Um,
Okay, let's explore that for a second. So, Faye is obviously a progenitor of Project Alter, and you were around, according to the backstory, as Project Alter is being kind of formulated.
yeah,
Also, real quick, your avatar state or whatever you want to call it in the dream, according to this, is called an alter. So, your alter is your alternate self.
yeah,
Um, you technically have two of these states. There's the being of the dream known as Deed, that is kind of a merged psyche that's kind of blended with yours. And then there's Queen, which is you kind of just directly. Um, I would say that your ideas on what needs to be done are different than Faye's. Faye very much is of a mind that this neutral balance is the right way to go. And I want to make
right,
sure it's very clear. Like, it is a conspiracy, and their goals are technically um, driving you to self destruction. This toxic culture movement's drive towards that isn't actually um, like the real goal, as much as the case with many villains in our kind of understanding of fiction or in real life.
right,
It's very rarely the case that a villain is like, yeah, fuck all of them. Although sometimes yes. In this case, they think that, or Faye, she thinks that this neutral course of action is the best course of action. The impulse is towards a drive towards self-destruction because it's destroying self.
Right.
It is very literally a self-destruction. It is also a self-destruction of culture. It is also a self-destruction of like a middle. If you're creating a middle ground where everybody is right and everyone is not wrong, you're creating a
Right.
situation where reactionary impulses typically will win out. So, in that instance, what I mean to say is you're not that, right? Like you'd be opposed
Yeah.
to that, and so those could
Yeah.
have been your criticisms that drove you away.
Yeah.
Okay, so expand upon what happens past that, and also like, in your opinion, what do you think your greatest or Faye's greatest accomplishment in this process would be in your view?
Um, I think she would think that her greatest accomplishment was bringing people together, but it was the result of those bringing people together that is where she finds the criticism.
Gotcha. I think that's
Um,
bringing them together is actually the problem, not the bringing them together.
yeah, like it's impressive to her, and she likes the fact that people were able to be brought together, but the means of bringing them together is the toxic part. So it's like it's also, I feel like, a point of contention within her of like, but everyone's together, but at the same time it's like, at what cost?
Okay. And then what critical work do you think that Faye left behind that like she kind of just skipped over, disregarded, or has left unfinished up until this point that you feel would be helpful towards fixing the problems with her methods?
I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, think on that. That's obviously one you
Yeah.
want to kind of lock onto. And
Yeah.
if you had a chance to like, you obviously broke away. You're no longer really friends with Faye.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that's kind of caused you to break apart. If you had a chance to share something with her or talk to her, um, in your mind, what would you bring to her attention? What would you try to kind of put to her to help her see the light or see the way you see it?
Um, I think she would probably want her to see that like there's not really any ideas or ideals being shared amongst the, or like, I guess like individual thoughts and ideas being shared amongst this like collective conspiracy that they're in. If
Nothing's
that's,
being gained. It's
yeah, it's just kind of like too, everything's kind of been like, I guess the way my mind has been like quantifying it is that the conspiracy is kind of like the blender tool in like Photoshop or something, and it's like, like the yin yang peace sign, and the blender tool just kind of like grayed that all out because it blended it all together rather
yeah,
than having that like harmonious like balance of two different, or like different thoughts and opinions that is needed.
that's fair. And yeah, it is very much that. It is a gradation of the kind of center line. It is a kind of trying to break down the walls of the middle point, but it's also kind of pushing everything inwards as well. If
Yeah.
think of that, but kind of put it into a more like it definitely sucks. So it's more like a black hole kind of scape that's kind of pulling
Mhm.
everything. I don't do Photoshop very well, so I can't think of the tool that actually kind of warps everything inward. But um,
The warp tool.
The warp tool's not exactly right what I'm thinking, but yeah, it could do it.
Or the pinch tool.
Yeah,
maybe?
probably pinch. Okay, so another thing too you would note is that in the end, there were definitely some dream shaping products that were being sold and released. So this isn't a conspiracy that is on the go. It is definitely one that has moved forward. And you would know that Embrace as a company is not really a dream altering company. However, they're releasing products that are very much said to kind of like better your dreaming, better your sleeping, and
Right.
it would seem too that yeah, it's just a very kind of strange circumstance. You haven't really utilized them or like encountered them, but from what you understand, they will make a person who's kind of connected to them, these products, to be a bit more, a bit easier to influence when it comes to
Yeah.
what they're trying to do with their projects. Okay, so the next beat would be Zach, last but not least. You walked away.
There he is.
No, I didn't.
I was just doing a
Just
bit.
got a big plate of food dropped in front of me.
Oh,
Oh,
well.
that's just what happened to me too.
that
Oh
was-
yeah.
I'm gonna
Sorry.
get a sandwich.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I picked the pre-gen Eve. So background is Eve is a senior product designer at Embrace. I was assigned to Project Alter by the C-suite in an attempt to rein in Faye's ambitions. The initial friction and rivalry gave way to a fierce friendship born of mutual respect. The two would work long nights together, debating solutions to intricate problems or sharing stories and drinks to blow off steam. Oh, and the altar is Cross, a being of stone, fierce and belligerent, who only respects power.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So,
Damn, dude.
what hint of her departure did Faye let slip to you? Because again, another thing that you'll kind of take into this is the company Embrace. It definitely demands deep commitment from its employees. A dedicated few offer themselves up fully to the company, as is typically the case, and they will recognize each other as kindred spirits. It sounds like this is the case with you and Faye. It's possibly the case too with Mole and Faye. Kind of like you've had this kind of higher tier connection working together. And so you'll end up working with one another in kind of a cult like collection of executives, ladder climbers, techno dystopian dreamers. Your goals mirror that of the company, but you don't do it for money. You do it for power. You do it for drive. You see yourselves as the founders of this, like, with a phase kind of pushing. You see yourself in this position where you're able to shape the dreams of the masses. You may or may not have been someone who is Kool-Aided or a part of it, like has drink the Kool-Aid is the best way I can kind of say it. Like, not saying that you are currently, but Faye doesn't stay. She does disappear. For what reason, you don't know. But what hint of her disappearance did she let slip to you?
Like, so by hint, does that mean she notified me before she disappeared?
In
Or
some
did she
minor
give
way.
me a hint about the conspiracy before she slept?
Oh, no,
like,
no. The
left?
conspiracy is
Like-
very much something that is active. Like, it's
Yeah.
something that's, like, she put through Embrace. and then she has left Embrace to continue the conspiracy. So, what hint did you kind of get to see that she is basically taking it out on her own and kind of moving it out into a bit more direct? Let me get into it a little bit. So while it was kind of like an optimistic and at the outset these projects, and you kind of like were enjoying locking in with Faye and kind of collectively, perhaps working alongside Mole at some point in these, it became a bit more sinister. The surveillance and espionage applications of the kind of dream collections, and the applications of like utilizing, kind of being able to track and coerce individuals who are affected by the products, was kind of a situation where it forced the product to kind of court military and police contracts. So Faye has led a group of employees in protest against those changes, but really not to any kind of avail. So she has broken away to continue the conspiracy because she feels that in kind of utilizing the dream projects for those purposes, it breaks the idea of what the conspiracy is truly about, the neutral ground. The latest kind of elements that have been used to kind of be purchased as products and that invade people into their dreams. It allows a forced entry into the dreams of others. It uses a mysterious intermediary space the team has been calling the Labyrinth to navigate between dreams. And any dreamer can be located in the Labyrinth, even if they have never used Project Alter's products. You have accounted for most of the prototypes, but a few disappeared when Faye left. She took the tools that were going to be used by the company after a fashion and kind of used them for more military application. Make sense?
Yeah, that does. So before she left, I think a big part of this conspiracy is a way for them to communicate outside of normal spaces. Like, it's not going to be a Facebook group. It's not going to be like 4chan. It's going to be something that's created separately. So I think shortly before she left, she showed me the decentralized network that she had built to continue to host forums, videos, discussions, like online chat rooms for the community.
The Discord channel, sure.
Right, but like one independently programmed and like,
no, I know.
like, like hosting available through multiple different like online users and that kind of shit. So like she
Hold on, I got this.
Thesaurus
Discord. Synonyms for Discord. We'll call it Dissonance is the name of the...
Sure. Perfect. It's great.
Go ahead.
So that's just what, like, that's the hint that I get before she leaves, is that she's built a way to continue this community outside of the companies or like any other outsider's control. Like, it's a very insular community that's now been built to continue to grow it outside of anyone else's control.
And what secret did she share with you and you alone?
That she shared a secret with me that I think over drinks one night admitted that she enjoys people losing their identities and struggles with the neutrality herself because of the positive feelings that she gets as others depersonalize. So she is not the best practicer of the work itself.
Yeah, or I mean, even if the work is worthy of practice by anybody.
Right. Like, and I don't know if she truly has done it before, so doesn't actually understand the harm that she's doing because she enjoys both positive and negative emotions personally and privately.
She's a hypocrite.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she privately admits over drinks when we're talking about things like that she's a fucking hypocrite. And
Could anyone ever replace her in your character's mind for this project? Do you think there's any person that you can think of that could take the reins, so to speak, of what she's built?
yes, I think if she can find a successor who also is disillusioned from the like practice, somebody who is a cynic who also recognizes the power and control that it gives you over people, that like they could be molded underneath her. I don't think there's anybody who could take it from her.
Got it. Good, good. Okay, so let's look at the situation as it comes to the group as a team. Obviously, there are two elements from both Elizabeth and also from Zach that we need to kind of play with here. So we'll start with Zach. Disillusioned cynic. So you've seen the inside of the situation. You've seen that she's a hypocrite and that the
And I
goal...
think that's the disillusionment. It happens in that moment when I realize she doesn't practice, I stop practicing.
Yeah, because it's kind of like someone's leading you down a path which you think is worthy simply based on the person's personality. But when you realize the person's personality is false, the path also dissolves in front of you and doesn't seem like a valid one any longer. I like that a lot. And then you are an object of desire. Now that can be for anybody at the table here, so long as they agree. Obviously, consent's super important. But I want to make sure that you understand that I'm always down to fuck. So if you name Faye as the character who you are the object of desire for, that would be fair and fine. Little less interesting, but fair and also fine.
I don't. So what other option would be one of the parties' object of desire?
Yeah, one
So
of them
I'm not
desires
going
you.
to. I'm not going to put that on to somebody else's character. I'm happy to just be like Faye's object of desire unless somebody wants that connection. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I'm putting it to the table. So if anybody wants to pine after Zach's character, I was going to say Zach as much as I do. I don't pine after their character. Then you can. Muted.
That's your job to pine after Zach.
Yeah, that's fair. But if somebody else wants to do it, again, there's narrative story here. Okay, so nobody else likes that. Got it. Just as a testament to how much of a true friend I am. I do want to put out one thing before we move to Elizabeth, though. Did you fix a computer? Are you on a computer right now? You're on.
Oh, I'm on a shitty laptop.
Oh, okay.
I can
He
do
got-
Discord
look
and
at-
Zoom.
Look how much disappointment is in his face.
I just saw that you were on the camera. You weren't really kind of on it last.
No, I figured out how to get the camera working too.
So,
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's look at the Oracle of the Dream portion of it. Okay. So focusing in, you were kind of effectuated upon first entry into the dream by Deed. Deed being an entity that is a dream entity. This being fused with your psyche, and you kind of have created a. It's not so much that Deed is you, but it's also not that they're not you.
Right.
But when you're queen, you're queen. Deed is separate. So when you're in dream space, you're both. But when you're in the real space, there's like a vibe or a feeling that maybe the same. As the Oracle of the Dream, you would understand that no matter what Faye's desires are, Faye's desires will always and only lead to destruction.
Right.
No matter what, creating effectively, and this is something that you would see in kind of a dream sense, creating a neutral ground what you would want to consider a demilitarized zone between all different points of objection, like every single kind of contrarian point, is only going to create a field where battle will be done. It will not create a field where nothing is happening. So you
Right.
understand that from the onset, she is flawed. And in your dreamscape, when you first fused with Deed, you saw in your mind an open field littered with graves. And it seemed to be the case that each one of these graves, these open graves, seemed to have people sleeping inside instead of coffins.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about the kind of prophecy that you've foreseen in your oracle sense?
This open field, was it
Endless.
in? It was
In
endless,
in the
and it
dreams.
was like in the dreamscape.
Yeah. Best way you can kind
Okay.
of imagine it would be kind of like a gray, like just dirt field with
Mhm.
maybe just at intermittent points dug throughout it, graves. No gravestones, just kind of box shaped holes in the ground. And like when you kind of
None of
invest,
them filled in.
yeah, at the bottom of each of these holes, you would see a person kind of in their kind of avatar or their alter state, kind of dreaming. In some of cases, an alter state for a person is as mundane as just being them in their normal state. In some
Yeah.
cases, an alter could be like, if it's like I am 50 years old, which I'm not. Go fuck yourself, okay? Jeez, I'm not that old. But if I were a 50-year-old guy, right, and I had like earlier days where I was like a really cool athlete, or like I was like chick magnet, my alter might be like a younger version of me.
Right.
And then in the case of like people who are less vain or less kind of temporally vain, people who are kind of jealous or kind of like envious of others, it might be the case that their like alter is literally just them as someone else.
Right.
So again, these things are things that you learned in that kind of initial kind of dropping into the dream space.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Okay.
I think we have everybody situated. So let's kind of look at the last couple of questions that we discussed. So, what defines the waking world? So, the waking world, in my opinion, is we want to think of the dreamscape as kind of multi tiered. You have the real world, right? And the waking world is basically the representation of the real world made manifest in the dream space, which serves as a pathway to it. Okay? So when you go to sleep and you're dreaming, that kind of very first initial rush of being in a dream is kind of a passing beyond your waking world into the dreaming state or the dreamscape. In our position, the waking world is looming spires that rise up into the dreamscape with crisscrossing wires all throughout. These crisscrossing wires, as far as you've been able to determine, especially if you've had incorporation in Embrace or Project Alter, you would know that they are basically representational of the connections that have been formed by Faye, by the company, and these spires are basically their locks onto the dreamscape from the material, from the real world. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So, the next thing that we note is that what shapes our dreams? Now, in the instance of this, we've decided that it's surveillance and status. People who are more powerful in real life are more powerful in the dreamscape, but people who become powerful in the dreamscape by themselves are more powerful in the real world. So it goes both ways. The flow of power is more about confidence of the dreamer than it is about the actual like power of that individual. There's no it's literally Moxie, but it's Moxie of the person. Like it's the Riz, so the kids would say. And so that's the status portion. The surveillance portion, obviously, it is something that is shaping your dreams because some of you are aware that your dreams can be seen by others. Some of you have seen other people's dreams. Some of you have talked to others in dreams and in the dreamscape. Some of you have traveled in the dreamscape. And some of you have kind of seen kind of futures unwritten before your eyes in the dreamscape. So a surveillance or an understanding, kind of like a very strange kind of removing of a veil, so to speak. And what are you trying to hide in your dreams? Like, what is it that you hide in the waking or in the waking world, in the real world, in the dreamscape, that kind of is something that you are specifically aware you're vulnerable. It makes you vulnerable. Emotions and intimacy is what we kind of put on the table from the onset. So that makes sense, and it's very general, and it is kind of as just saying emotions and intimacy. It's kind of wishy-washy. Now, I will say, and there's a possible retraction from something we decided on earlier as we move into this next beat, but the reason why I was kind of leaning towards possibly somebody seeing Zach's character Eve as an object of desire is because intimacy is what you're hiding from somebody. It is something that you do not want to project outwards. It's something you are keeping close to the chest. Now, obviously, intimacy is a very difficult topic to kind of engage with, and it also makes us feel weird and kind of awkward. And I'm not going to push any boundaries here, but I do want to say that if there is actual intimacy amongst the players, not so much in like a romantic sense, just depending on how you want to look at that intimacy, it would prove better for this to be something that you're actually hiding. Because what it does is it gives me weaknesses that I can play into, or targets I can move towards.
I have a quick thought.
Yeah.
So, like I think with the nature of of Embrace and of the conspiracy, I think it's clear that if you are involved with Embrace at all, you need to hide that your emotional like changes, right? The emotional intensities that people experience day to day normally. And you also need to I think like that graying and that buffing out and blurring, like with the blur tool on Adobe, it's like intimacy is also blurred out that way. Bonds between people, friendships are predicated on like, I kind of like you better than I like you, right? If we're all together in this like kind of gray goo, then there can never really be any real intimacy.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we kind of ended up in a similar pattern and shape that we were trying to avoid, where the two people who are using precons have kind of a, it's like you knew each other, like from working at Embrace,
Yeah.
and if you were friends, that's something to hide. But maybe maybe all of us became friends somehow.
Well, yeah, I think we need to delve on that too, specifically because we have an understanding as to why Margot and Colleen become friends. There is an event. We have a kind of start point for that and kind of a discourse. Those strands that we mentioned that are kind of amidst inside of the waking world, for you and for for Colleen and for Margot, Livonia, and what is Kimmy? What is your alter state?
Xavier.
For those two, it is very much an understanding that you formed a connection not just in person, but also in the dreamscape or in the waking world. It could very much be the case that these connections that are formed by others come in a similar fashion. They're not hunting you, Colleen, but it could be the case that Margot, having worked in these kind of higher echelons, would have reached out to one or the other, especially after hearing that Faye has kind of removed herself from Embrace and kind of been like, am I safe? Like, or, what's going on? And they could have had a friendship that was minuscule, more, kind of something buried down, that once they're able to kind of explore it, it's a bit more of like, understood a bit. And again, object of desire is just, again, on the table. That could have been a drive for Margot to reach out to Eve. And that desire does not need to be kissy face, making out, doing the tanky panky. It could be the case that that desire is to be like. Because it is the case, too, that Eve is kind of higher in Embrace, kind of has a higher position, kind of has a, more vaunted kind of status therein. Could also be the case that she was just friends with them, and it's not as deep. Could also be the kissy face stuff if you want to do that. Sorry, I'll stop.
Why do you keep making people
'Cause
kiss?
This game is very horny if you let it be, and
True.
not saying that I want it to be.
I think any TTRPG could be like that.
This one in
if you wanted
particular.
it to.
Anyway,
I played some Baldur's Gate.
fair enough.
I only do that with Magpie's characters, and she's not here, so.
Aww.
I hope she's doing okay. She had a
Me
bad
too.
couple of days, so I thought I had a bad day with mine. I just have a huge. I don't know if you can see it in the void, but like, there's a. Do you see the bump?
Oh.
Oh.
I put a bandage on it.
Oh.
It's
Oh,
underneath.
okay. That's not just all swelling. Okay.
No. It's not swelling.
Okay. I just saw like a huge hematoma at
It's
like
skin
work
deep.
today because
It's-
someone fell off their bike.
Ow.
No good.
It was like a goose egg. She's fine.
How do we want to move the next step in, like, just to make sure we have the group together? So it would be, are we going from Margot to Eve, or are we going Margot to Mole?
What do you mean, Margot to Mole?
Margot is going to obviously connect with one of the two at Embrace, who are kind of there / leaving, and probably due in part to learning about Faye, or sorry, rather Blair, removing herself from Embrace. So, who?
Oh, I think out of the two choices, it would be Mole, because
Nobody likes Zach. Got it.
no, because I was thinking like Zach would seem too attached to Faye.
Yeah, also higher tier, I think.
Yeah.
The other thing too is, between you and me, Margot, you've got to connect a little bit with these people so that you can learn more, so that we can fill up our file and really figure out what's going on. So, I mean, not only are you seeking intimacy of some sort with Mole, but also maybe trying to shake him down for info.
Yeah. That could be, yeah. But I would think it would be Mole, because I feel like my character would be a little bit too timid in the waking world to go towards Zach's character. Eve.
Okay. And then I assume that Eve would be brought on by Mole. Again, I'm just
Probably.
putting
Yeah.
that kind of tierical progression in. It's absolutely
Sorry, I was reading her
sure.
like thing again. Yeah, I think she would bring her on.
Okay. So I put inside the character sheet slot a protagonist sheet. And if you click that open, you'll see that there is an investigation tier on the right and a conspiracy tier on the right as well. What I'd like for you to do is go ahead and advance the investigation track by 2. So tier 1 will increase by 2 pips.
John, I don't think I have access to that.
I will give you access.
On the protagonist sheet?
Yes, you should have
Yeah.
access. And now
Okay,
now I
it's
do.
refreshing.
So you'll increase the investigation tier by 2. Okay.
Waiting for it to load.
It has the who are its hosts and stuff incorrect. I will correct that now.
Is there only one sheet?
Yeah.
Yeah. The protagonists sheet.
Oh,
Like
okay.
collectively, we have one group sheet.
That's so
Okay, okay.
So that's so
okay.
stupid.
So only one person needs to do it.
I got it. I got it marked off, I think.
Yeah.
Like our ship.
That's very
Yes,
fun.
exactly. Like
it's
the
like
ship.
the ship.
Yep.
Correct. The protagonist sheet is kind of like your team thing. So fun fact, when I added it, oh, I'm so stupid. When I added it, it was before I added the actual, like, they have a module, like, connects. So when I pulled it in, it actually overwrote the protagonist sheet with the generic protagonist sheet. So a lot of the blanks on the left side are going to be incorrect. If you would do me a favor, and if you can, it may not matter. We'll just use what we have written down as source. So we have learned to breach the barrier of dreams. Some of you have learned through methodologies kind of imbued to you by Embrace, the company. Some of you have learned how to do this on your own, or some of you learned how to do it on your own and maybe instructed others how to do it at Embrace. Why do we wander into others' dreams? According to this, it's to uncover truths that others ignore. So in the sense of Embrace, the reason why it would be very beneficial for someone to engage into a person's dream is to kind of move them from a more radicalized or engaged position towards a more neutral one through kind of understanding and using their own aspirations and dreams kind of against them, in a sense. Okay. So, at this point too, if you would like, you can advance, get 1 advance to spend on a special ability or transcendent ability from the series. I think those are listed in the protagonist sheet there. So Daydreamers, I believe, is the one that's currently listed. Transcendent abilities are listed, or you have Lucid. Each protagonist marks a transcendent action dot in Forgive, Express, and Conceal. And then, yeah, the missions and the like will be kind of discussed as we move through them. If at all you folks want to kind of discuss your living arrangements or your coordinated engagements, obviously you know each other and are working together, and we kind of have an understanding of what the drive is, but I kind of want to know what your plan is. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it to you folks to kind of talk.
One thing I want to throw out quick, part of my character sheet is picking a rival.
Oh.
And interacting with that rival gives me different special abilities.
Okay.
So I feel like the easiest rival would actually be Mole.
Oh right, sorry. It's your own team rivals. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, and when I interact with my rival with like help, I grant them +2 instead of +1 dice.
Oh, so that adds an interesting.
And And if we refuse help from either way, like I refuse hers, she refuses mine, then we get XP.
So that actually
Oh.
creates an interesting kind of circumstance too, because
Yeah, right?
it was Margot who contacted Mole, and then Mole came to like check out this new kind of contingent that's formulating. Instead of it being the case that you know Eve like was called on by Mole to come join up, instead Mole sees it because or sorry,
Mhm.
Eve sees it because she's kind of a bit more ingratiated in the company. She's paying attention to like small details, especially as Faye's leaving, and kind of sees that situation and wonders what are they doing, and kind of why haven't they dealt with X? Obviously, I don't want to deal with X anymore because I don't think the target is worth taking out. So let's go find out more about them. You learn about Colleen, you learn that Margot's been kind of AWOL for a bit, and you kind of ingratiate yourselves among them. I think that's a better lead up for why you met instead of just someone calling you and bringing you on.
There you go.
So yeah, what's the plan? And also talk amongst yourselves, like the living arrangement, discussing like the status of your friendship. It's going to be listening for a while. If you have any questions of me specifically, you can, but I'm basically this is just free play.
Do we want to live together?
Totally spies style.
Well, what
Housing is expensive. I'm just throwing it out there.
I think that I think it's somewhere along the way. It was like this idea of like um well, like the way that we were discussing it was like Margot brings in Mole, and then Mole brings in Eve. But really, in a way, I think it's the other way around. In a way, Eve is the one with the status and the power, and probably the higher paycheck. Um, and I I think that that Margot would introduce me to her embrace friends eventually. Does
Hmm.
that make sense?
Yeah, and I was thinking too because Mole wanted to kind of engage with Margot. Mole wanted to engage with Margot because they are friends, according to what they said. Not best friends, obviously. That's you and but because of that, Eve's kind of directionality was like, what's going on over here, and kind of like then ingratiated themselves into the situation, and then due to their kind of higher tier understanding of the subject matter, was able to kind of win over Colleen a bit in that regard, because they're a bit more kind of closer to the top, so to speak.
And I think like if power in the dream correlates to power in real life, me being closest to the top of Project Alter is good, right?
Yeah, it means you're either on phase level or just below it.
Right, because they brought me on to potentially replace her.
Right.
I don't know if I would live with you guys.
We don't have to.
Maybe we live in like the same neighborhood though, or like the
Okay.
same building.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. And it could be the case that after a fashion, you start kind of moving closer, anyways. Because again, another thing you need to keep in mind is that you are aware that Faye is out there with a device that lets her intrude into people's dreams. You do not know the
Right.
range, you do not know the distance, but you do also have an understanding of how to do that yourselves.
Right. So it
So,
kind of makes sense to kind of be closer.
like within walking distance
Mm, I would
of
say
the of embrace too.
possibly. Like, do we live in like I'm guessing that we would be living in like a city sort
Hold on.
of.
So let me go ahead and coordinate that real quick. So the city that you are living in is Austin, Texas.
Oh.
Oh,
So we are playing Cult. Got it.
So I want
knew it.
It's in Texas.
I want to make sure
Cult.
we understand.
Great.
We are not playing cold. However, if
Cult of a different flavor.
if Sapakli wants to take inspiration from this, they are certainly welcome to, because I have taken inspiration from their cult games. So
Oh.
turnabout is fair play. I don't know if you got the reference to the field of a bunch of holes.
It just clicked. I'm connecting the dots.
Right. So focusing up, your face when they were talking about living close to Embrace and also living close to each other was definitely a face of knowledge. So I just want to make sure that we understand.
Well, no, I can express my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that I'm a target, right, of whatever's going on. I don't want to be any closer to Embrace than I already am. You know, I have a drive. My avatar has a drive to develop a deep bond with Margot and her avatar, and now also with Moles and Eve's. But myself in the material world feels a lot of fear about being so close to Embrace, because I'm engaging in a way that it's totally outside of the outside of the way that it's supposed to work, right? Like, so I'm afraid. And, maybe Margot's the only one who gives a shit that I'm afraid. Because I don't know how close I've gotten to Mole and Eve
That's up to you.
in the last 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely up to you.
That's a good point, because if you're afraid, then I would want to be your roommate, because I would want to protect you in a sense.
Okay.
Then maybe I would suggest us living on the outskirts of town,
Yeah.
and not.
Would Mole and Eve be okay with that?
I think after Faye left, that's when Eve would want to move out there. So I probably haven't been living there the entire time, but like recently when Faye left is when I like moved out there.
I think that would also make sense if that's where we're kind of going.
Right.
I think it makes more sense for us to live closer together than further apart.
Townhouse in the burbs.
Yay!
100%. Okay, so focusing up a little bit here, and just kind of locking in, you have over time kind of ingratiated yourself physically and obviously in the dream space. So we've already discussed proximity physically. There's obviously conversations that happened in the real world amongst one another. This is the case of anybody trying to move in with anybody. And we understand that pleasantries are kind of afforded, especially between besties. And obviously, it's a bit more of the situation has changed and I need a place to stay that's safe. What about in the dream space? How do your alters coordinate with one another in that space? Now, we had a slight description, but again, not much of one, regarding Lotharia, right? But we haven't gotten much regarding. We got the name of Margot's. We haven't seen too much of the other two. We've heard about them though, so let's discuss those. We'll go ahead and start with Kimmy. No, that's unfair. Give you some time to think about it. We'll go ahead.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and start with Zach. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the way I'm imagining Eve's dream space because like everyone's dream space is like conjured differently based on their like culture and background and like beliefs or whatever is my thought, like, right? And we all can pass between each other's dream spaces, or force our way into each other's dream spaces. So the way I see Eve's dream space is like it's the same 20 by 20 cube, but there's always like 2 or 3 or 4 doors, and every room conjures something different. Because my altar is Cross, who is a big stone, like strong being that stands probably like generally conjures what most people would consider like 7-8 feet tall on a humanoid. I don't know if dream space is like the same as reality, but he generally appears taller than most of the other avatars and is like encased in stone and just likes to rumble, and a lot of the dream space is conjuring up potential fears and fighting them in that safe space. And I'm does that make sense?
Yeah. So what I wasn't anticipating and I really enjoy is the fact that you were able to kind of ingratiate kind of moods and personalities of Eve slash Cross into your manifestation of the dreamscape once you arrive there. A house is a structurally sound thing. It is built on a foundation. The foundation is the premise of a home. And so you're starting in this small room and kind of branching out into other spaces
Right.
as you move through those. One of the more important things for these dreamscapes to kind of take into account too, and it's something I don't know if it's present in Cult, but it's definitely something I thought of when playing Cult and kind of drew it out from there. But your dreams aren't connected to another person's dreams until they are. And so, in my
Right.
mind, every single dreamscape that's kind of developed should have some form of connection point, some door or hole or access way, some sort of passage. So the idea of doors,
Telephone booth, right?
yeah, it's very much kind of mentally thinking the Matrix when I think of the doors, specifically the Matrix Reloaded. I think, yeah, you've got the door aspect of it, and it's very kind of structurally sound, like it makes sense on a kind of foundational level, and I think that fits perfectly. And then Cross and like your group, when kind of engaging in dream spaces, is tall, but something to kind of put towards that. The height and kind of like stature of an individual in the dreamscape is perspective based, sure, but it is also very much kind of a thing that is an attitude of the part of the dreamscape that you're on. So in the house, which is very much kind of built on the idea of what we understand a house to look like, Cross is probably like head almost scratching the ceiling kind of situation in some of these spots. But in more open dreamscape realities, it might not be the case that Cross appears as big. Okay, cool. Elizabeth, you want to go next?
Oh, and the other thing I was just gonna say is
yeah.
that Eve's dreamscape is always open to people. I imagine that's one of the better dreamscapes to do like training together if we're a group that's trying to coordinate like the structure of the rooms and things, and just Cross wanting to fight and recklessly like prove himself.
Okay.
That's all.
Elizabeth?
So, with her kind of like dueling avatars, Queen is written as being like a beacon of light almost. And I was trying to find actually what it exactly said, but shining figure is how it was worded. But I'm imagining it's more of like that avatar altar appears more as like a beacon of light almost, just like more of like a spiritual looking thing. I'm not sure
In the art,
if
just real quick, in the art, you can see that I've changed your tokens to their altar size. It is basically like a very beautiful, like feminine, with like gold and kind of like brightly illuminated kind of attire.
Yeah. Okay. I was imagining it a little differently,
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
that also works.
No.
I don't
You.
know. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the art is. It's not
Sure.
very clear in the rules. I've searched them. I could not find it.
Yeah, it can absolutely
Um,
be like a being of light. That's absolutely totally fine.
yeah. And then like in my head, when Moore is presenting as like Deed, they're almost like the opposite because they are like dueling.
Hmm.
So like more in shadow or something. I'm not sure what kind of dream space they share exactly from like what I have and what I've been thinking. Um, like all my brain currently has is like a blank room
Okay.
or like a mist of some sort, if that makes sense.
I like it. So to kind of maybe give you an idea, like if you're thinking of like a mist area, and then again formal or for the area, Austin, Texas, if you're from here, where would be like a natural location that you'd be kind of familiar with that might be prone to having this?
I've only been to Austin, Texas once.
No, no worries. Just again, you use your imagination. Um,
Let's see. When I was in Austin,
There's a public park that's like down by the river, and
is
then I
that
imagine
one
like early in the
near the
morning.
college?
It might be.
Because I
so
went to
like a
UT Austin at one point.
like a park, a well manicured kind of park space
Yeah.
that is covered in mist, so you can't really see the horizon or the sky above.
Yeah.
Maybe like small little pinholes of light in the above you, but it's a kind of more nighttime activity, sleeping, and you're kind
Mhm.
of just out of this thing. And so what I think would be interesting too is like the kind of manicured nature of the park. You're kind of standing like on a point where there are small little stone paths or even kind of more
Mhm.
concrete paths that have been formulated that go into the mist, and these can
Okay.
serve as your pathways out and away.
Yeah.
And also something that comes to my mind, Liz, is like, the dual nature of your avatar. A park during the day is like really cheerful and like,
Mhm.
there's families playing or whatever, and then at night it can feel very dangerous and kind of very spooky and hidden. So that's kind
Yeah.
of interesting.
Yeah, I like that. Um, okay. Anything else you want to add? Torture Kimmy time?
I don't think so.
All right, let's hear it.
Mine, okay. Are we allowed to say like what our thing is? Like
Yeah.
the character. Okay, so I chose Guardian, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I think about how Margot is during the day, like a very timid and person, then when she goes into her dream, it's very cliche, but she's very uh guardian scout like, where she goes into her dream and she's immediately into a battle like in Austin, and she's trying to save it. But okay, but she's not violent. She's like very Tuxedo Mask, where he just says the thing and ends the battle. Okay. Like she
I have
doesn't get her
arrived.
yeah, she doesn't get, so she has a cape and she has like the things that cover her eyes, but she's covered. There's we're not showing stuff. But that's how she enters her dream. She's always in the midst of a battle when she gets in there and she's saving Austin.
Okay. And so,
Cool.
kind of covered in like almost like a Zorro or
Yeah.
kind of like attire. Okay, cool. I love that. And then in your kind of initial dreamscape, it's not so much a situation where with Eve and Mole, they're very kind of they start off as very I'm here kind of, I've entered into the dream. Instead, it's more of like an adrenaline pumping, like, oh, I gotta run it, and like instead of like
Yeah, straight into
specific
action.
specific thoroughfares, like the dream is more of kind of like an impulse drive. Like it's like you're going and it's like, oh, I gotta run to this building and save the people there, kind of situation. You're always doing heroic shit in the dreamscape. Love that.
Yes.
Okay. And then we did have a short description. I'm obviously going to put one limiter based on previous discussion on your dreamscape when you describe it, Sabakli, and that there's a huge fucking gate somewhere in it or around it. But other than that, sky's the limit.
Yeah. I think, I feel inspired by a kind of like a galaxy kind of space, with these like kind of like this ring of gates all around that go out into other dream spaces.
John.
How many gates are there? Are there 13?
Probably at some point there
You're
were,
literally
as they
describing the
accumulate.
13 gates of Ashtar.
Really? Okay.
Well, I love it. Great
There's
minds.
there's one at the center, which is maybe like we'll say that it's like, like the most, ornate and like impressive one, which is where, the remnants of dreams go. And yeah, and that's sort of like the starting point.
Yeah.
Not very useful, or not a lot of shape to it, but
Sure.
it has its uses, I
I
guess.
like it for its kind of nebulousness, pun
Mhm.
intended. So I would say that like the gate number is not important. I think the shape of the
Okay.
gates is kind of important. So when you say gate, do you mean like what we would think of in a traditional sense as a gate, or more of a Dungeons and Dragons and kind of thought process on it? Like, are you thinking like a black metal gate with like on the
No,
top
I'm thinking like
portal
an
ways?
oval mirror suspended in space.
Okay. And I
Like
think
every gate is like an oval mirror that you can cross through.
to kind of give it like a bit of scope to
Mhm.
like the path that lead up to them, like at the edges of the center.
Oh, there's no path. There's no land. We're all floating.
Oh, so it's just these gates
We
floating
float.
in space.
Everything's floating
Got
in
it.
space.
Okay.
Oh,
So if
question.
you come in there, you have to figure out how to like navigate no gravity because you float.
I don't think that Zafia would have any problem with that. Flying is something that she does in her dreams all the time across
Cool.
Austin, saving people. I think over time, Cross would deal with. I don't like this floaty shit. You're muted. Muted.
Cross is getting real good at grabbing ankles and like.
For sure. So
drag me along.
the next thing that I need to kind of advance, of course, we already discussed the special ability or transcendent ability from the series, but the protagonist's next beat is to kind of write a promise. Each character has one promise pre-written, which only requires that the player fill in a character name. Their other promise is written based on the open prompt, and I'm looking at that next step in this beat, and I don't know what it's referencing. Does anybody see that on their sheets or anywhere else?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's on the left side. Like, there's a spot for name, role, background, obligation, promises.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My promises, and I imagine Margot's,
yeah.
are blank.
Yeah.
As are mine.
Yeah,
Oh.
you're supposed to fill those
I
in.
made. Yeah, we need to fill them in. Is
No.
what John's saying.
The promises are based on everything we've described. Now, keep in mind, you're four. You have been traveling, or you've been traveling in dreams, coordinating in real life, and fighting the conspiracy. Sometimes physically in dreams. for 6 months or so now together. It started off as an effort to save somebody you felt was an innocent in this, and it has moved from that to understand that the drive of the conspiracy for 3 of you is definitely something that was malicious from its onset and needs to be stopped. So, yeah, your promises are kind of your own, and it says each character has one promise pre-written. Is that the truth for the 2 pre-generated characters?
Say that
The
again. Sorry.
shared promise.
Yeah. On your sheet, did it have
Yeah.
a promise already written in there?
It has a shared promise, but it has like a blank spot, like a underscore 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 on it. If that makes sense.
Gotcha.
I don't know if we're sharing those.
No, it's fine. You don't have to if you don't want to.
I mean, I can.
You
I
can
don't
if you want to.
care. It's I will show blank the power of dreams and blank how fragile dreams can be.
So, who's blank for the first one?
Maybe Choline? Choline.
Yeah.
Sorry. Choline, and then maybe Eve on how fragile dreams can be.
Perfect. And again, your dreams are your own, or sorry, your promises are your own. And then there's an obligation, but I again am not really terribly concerned about that. The downtime prospect here, that is the next step. And sorry, I just want to get to the thrust of the mission, so we have an hour to do it.
Oh, you're good.
The next step is downtime actions, and you'll take normally in a downtime situation that's not a oneer, you would take 2 whenever you have downtime to kind of reflect on specific instances or what have you. So you 4 colleagues have been working to kind of unravel the conspiracy of dreams, and then Faye left, and possibly due to your machinations, and has basically taken to herself to kind of build on her own, and has revealed to Eve that network is strong. There is a very powerful basis for her to just seize power from Embrace and move forward with the conspiracy of her own. The Project Alter, according to Embrace, is abandoned, unfinished. A handful of functional prototypes and empty offices. The functional prototypes have been dismantled. One is believed to have been taken by her. Okay. So you would know that she is the prime source and the prime kind of like target for you to kind of make any headway on this. She needs to be stopped. So decide with. Let me see if I can't find downtime. I can't even type good. I know the downtime activities are for. Okay, so downtime. Downtime actions results that affect tracks, clocks, or links. Award them based on the following table. Okay, you can make a connection. You can help a friend recover. You can work on a long-term project. Investigation. Again, you have 2 marks on your track. Investigation can be anything that you can think of that you would want to be investigating. And then we would get to missions on the next beat. But based on the one play nature of this, investigation and investigation's the primary one. I can't think of anything else being really functional for a single gameplay session. What are we trying to investigate? What would we want to investigate?
What happened to Faye?
Yeah, or like where she is.
Okay. So the reason why I've awarded you with 2 already is because you have a pretty good start and a pretty good lead on that, thanks to Eve. Now, in the investigation downtime action, you roll a d6. There should be a downtime option there. I don't know if it has it. But if you roll a 1 through 3, you'll gain 2 segment marks. If you roll a 4 or 5, you'll gain 3 segment marks. If you roll a 6, you'll gain 4 segment marks. A critical success occurs if you are rolling 2 dice or more, and you roll 2 6s on any 2 dice that you're rolling for the specific instance. Now, for investigation, you're going to determine which of your attributes are the ones that you want to utilize for moving forward for the investigation. And you're just going to tell me how you feel that specifically kind of works in the kind of description process of that. Does that make sense? So your sun, moon, and stars as your kind of 3 attributes, and then beneath each one of those you'll have actions. And so when you investigate, you're going to use one of those actions, one of those sun, moon, or stars, and you're going to kind of, based on what's below it, understanding how those kind of work. Sun is more kind of like bravado, or like kind of strength personality. Moon is more like faith, or kind of like empathy. And then stars is kind of like mentality, like intellect. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Can you only do it if you have a pip in it?
No. So you're going to be rolling.
Okay.
You're going to be rolling the attribute. So you'll be clicking either sun, moon, or stars, not the actual action. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you should be able to roll that, and how it kind of equates what you have in those is based on your what your actions are picked. So if you have like 1 in express and like 2 in defy, you have like a 3 in sun, I think it is. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it might be a better role for you to do that one if.
Yeah, you want to go for the one you have the most pips in, for sure, 100%.
Do we each do it or just one collectively?
Each one of you is going to make 1 investigation roll because there really isn't anything else that's kind of like present.
Okay. Okay.
And we are skipping the obligation process because it's whatever.
Okay.
So I'm gonna click sun.
Okay, if that's where you're rolling with, sure.
No bonus die?
No bonus dice for this one. Okay, so that's a success. And also for this instance, that means you will put a total of 4 segment marks on the protagonist sheet's investigation tabs up in the right. That makes sense?
That fills out tier 1.
Okay, if it fills out tier 1 will remain filled out, and tier 2 will now be progressed on. So a breakthrough has happened for the investigation. So you have been able to deduce that based on everything that's been going on here, Faye is still in Austin. She has not removed herself from Austin. And like you, she has moved to kind of a more exterior location in the suburbs. You are also aware that she appears to be still shooting and posting videos on whatever media like sources are kind of present in our fantasy world here. Your equivalents of the more popular ones. And a lot of talk about it is happening on what was it, Crawler? Was that the Reddit duplicate we made?
Yeah.
Of?
Yeah. For cult.
Yeah. So like you have a lot of like she seems to be kind of pushing forward more of like a campaign for impact and kind of getting more people more eyes on her. but you're aware of approximately where she's located physically. Okay. Who wants to go next?
I'll roll Moon. Did it roll?
You'll click on a pop-up that says bonuses. You're going to hit no bonuses.
Okay.
It might be under
It's
character sheets or somewhere hidden.
It's not doing anything. We just click on the word moon, right?
Yeah, that should work. Did that work for you, Zach?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me close it and open it again, maybe?
Yeah, I just clicked
Oh,
on
wait,
the word.
here it is. It was
Bang.
underneath
There it
character
is.
sheet.
Okay.
It just popped up. It just popped up. Moon's there.
So
Yeah.
5 will give us 3 segments. Go ahead and notate that. And I believe it's 6
Nice.
segments per tier, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Are you doing that? Or I could do that.
I got it already.
Okay, sick. Yep.
So you're focused on a more kind of mental idea of where, not mental, sorry, a more dreamscape idea of trying to track and trace them. And so you start paying attention to the waking world and the connection therein. And you're starting to see a lot of focus and connection into one point. And in your mind, what that means is like there seems to be kind of a space in the dreamscape that's being kind of focused on by a lot of people. Do you investigate that further, or do you just kind of take that as the thing that you grant from this?
I think she tried to investigate it further.
Without kind of applying yourself into that dreamscape, but like looking at it in kind of a temporal and kind of like non-existent space, you're able to see that it is a massive gray field with a bunch of holes dug into the ground that appear to have people inside of them. And it seems that you can see people walking onto the field from outside and stepping into the holes.
Okay, so it's like the my
It's
vision
like
that
the
I had.
vision is happening, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Spooky.
Okay. Sapakli, Kimmy.
Kimmy, you got anything?
If I click moon again, will I have different results than Elizabeth?
Yeah, so these are based on you and you alone. So like I'm definitely catering the kind of like what happens to the person for sure. If somebody else had rolled sun, they weren't gonna find exactly where Faye was living, even if they did roll insanely well. Mainly because I think that Eve is kind of more connected in a physical sense and a company sense to Faye than you would have been.
Okay, I want to move. I want to click moon.
Okay. All right. So you kind of like listen to what has been kind of told to you by the rest of your group and try and focus in on that, but you feel like you are being dejected. It seems like after some sort of trespass, the field that's being created by Faye's field, is now more guarded. The mists around the field are now instead replaced with crypt walls or lich gates. And it's very much now like an actual graveyard with high walls, spears, and spikes, and no allowances. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But you do advance the tracker by 2. You learn
Nice.
that they are now on the defensive for whatever reason. Okay. Last but not least, Sapakli.
All right. So I guess I want to do a little bit of dream hopping and use my powers of perception to gather up any clues about Faye, and not necessarily her location, but her intentions.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see it.
Did it roll?
No. Should have brought a pop
Oh,
up.
no bonus dice. Got it.
Okay.
It's a 4.
So a 4 will give you a total of 3 more. Does that advance the tier?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And does that give us a pip into the third tier?
2.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so what you would learn is that Faye's intention is to create a network with the one device that she has. A network with she would be able to use to connect to anybody who is in any way connected to her acolytes. And she could do it without even being in the same city, state as those acolytes, broadening her reach so that she can touch anybody who is emotionally connected in any way to one of her acolytes, one who dreams with her. This is very troubling. She could take over the minds of anybody, people in power, people who are well regarded online, or in public, the public zeitgeist. This is a troubling thing to be sure.
God, Bro Jogan is gonna pick this thing up so quick.
Bro Jogan. I love it. So you would note that it would seem that at this point you need to do something to stop it. So at the start of the mission, the protagonists are going to make a special roll, but before we get to that, I've explained the scenario to you. And again, we are in a state of free play. No matter what you say, I am not going to say no. Unless it's really stupid. If it's really stupid, I'm going to say no. But if it's not really stupid, and it's very cool, then, or even just slightly cool, or milk toast, whatever, as long as it's not stupid. If you say something, I'm probably going to say yes to it. But I want
This
to.
just sounds like a challenge now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do not think that any of you are going to say anything stupid. But I want you to think about the context of what I've described to you, and also the kind of understanding of kind of the dreamscape space. What are you doing to prepare? And also, what is the plan? Do you wish to engage the field, or do you wish to engage Faye herself?
I think I would like to engage Faye herself.
Yeah. Because, like, I feel like attacking or even, like, entering the field is more along the lines of, like, connecting with her acolytes, which means that Faye would be connecting and, like, roping us in, or has, like, more of a hold.
Mm-hmm.
She has the high ground.
I agree. Attack the source.
Mhm.
I don't know much about Faye. I desperately want to know more.
Okay. So then,
So
again,
wait.
you have a course of action. Just kind of thinking about the idea of the dream space being as kind of open-ended as it is, and you kind of describing how your dreamscapes individually kind of work. Thinking about that, how do you wish to, when you engage her, how do you wish to play out? What's the plan? Now, obviously, we
I
can
have
go ahead.
I have like an immediate impulse,
Yeah.
which is for us to have like a dream spaceship or a boat or something that we can all ride in and be protected in. And then we can ride that through a gate to where, like, if we steal ourselves, somewhere, I can open a gate and we can go right to her.
This is a great
Mm.
start, and I like where we're at. So let's think
Mhm.
about this for a second. Who in our minds would make the strongest, most reliable craft for us to pilot through the dreamscape into hers? Based on what we've described of our characters so far. and our altars.
Eve, if you don't volunteer yourself right now,
I think that's
Eve's done.
Pudding?
Eve said, "Fuck this."
Zach's like pudding. I love
So
pudding.
sorry, I just got asked what type of cookie I wanted on my ice cream sandwich.
Aw,
That
how
didn't-
cute.
What kind of cookie did
So
you
I-
choose, though?
I think I'm gonna go with the oatmeal chocolate chip.
You know what?
Okay.
Solid choice.
I just want to
Right,
Yeah.
cancel the game
Good
now
choice.
because everybody got food served to them, and is getting dessert, and I'm just crybaby piss boy, and
Very sorry.
it's fine. It's fine.
So,
But
so Eve, where I had this impulse to build like a spaceship that we can ride to Fae. We can build it in my dreamscape space. Would you do it for us? Would you build it?
Challenge accepted.
good start. Now, obviously, the craft's piloting is not as terribly important. However, when you think of it in a dream sense, I guess it's kind of important. Obviously, people who aren't going to be terribly familiar with Fae, they're not going to be the ones piloting it to Fae. You're kind of trying to pilot a course to an island that you aren't familiar with. Who are we thinking is our directional focus, the one who is sending us to that place, the one who sees beyond, might be able to see further into it?
Elizabeth's character? Do you think? With you being the
Yeah,
Oracle?
Yes. I think the
No.
Oracle makes
The Oracle?
that.
What I've described here is just based off of Sophocles kind of positing kind of an idea of what the visual and what the focus is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Whatever you want to like add to it, or if you want to kind of divert from it and have a different entryway, that's absolutely plausible too. But I want to make sure you understand too. Focusing on one unified dream will make it a stronger dream than
Yeah.
your own individual dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good direction.
I mean, I think like I'm running the FTL drive, right? Like I'm like opening the portal so that we can move, but you're the one that's going to have to guide us
Yes.
towards
Either
the
navigating or
target.
steering the
Yeah.
ship.
Okay.
Right.
So
One
I
of
just,
you is accelerating and the other is braking.
I just want to pause real quick.
Right.
I want to pause real quick. You're turning this into Scum and Villainy, which is a totally
I know.
different Evil Hat Productions game. If you
We've got the
want-
shared character sheet, like the ship. We're building one. There's so many
If
similarities.
you want, it is the exact same game. It is the exact same game. This is also Forged in the Dark, but it is modified. I like how they do these. They're what they call hacks. Okay. So anything anybody wants to add to the process of getting in, and also the more detailed the better. Like if there's things like in the background we formulated with these characters that you want to plug and play into your description, very much going to be lauded. Okay.
Can't think of anything.
No problem.
So if it's a spaceship type model, I feel like the only thing Cross would add would be like additional reinforced armor and probably cameras outside with some kind of a weapon system that he could engage with, because that's just how Cross thinks. It's like, we're gonna go fight shit.
I don't know why I had a completely different like image of a ship. You said ship and my brain was like a dream ship.
What do you mean by that, Liz?
Like a boat.
Like
Oh,
a
like
sailboat?
a pirate ship.
I agree.
Oh,
I mean, I was I
Like I had
Then-
like this
then-
image of like
then
a
Cross
sail,
has
like
been
a giant
sculling, like,
sailboat.
old school cannons on the side.
I like
railing.
that. I like it sailboat. I think sailboat is very in line with the dream aspect. You know,
Yeah.
the sails are like opalescent and we can reinforce the whatever the outside part of the boat is called, and put
Yeah.
cannons, like you said.
Well, I think it's interesting too because we just kind of decided where the boat is being formulated and where the set off will happen from. So obviously, the person who's seeing the directionality is formulating it. So you're standing out in a park, some just misty park, and you kind of like are led towards the edge of the mist, and you see that there's what appears to be a small creek, and then the creek just seems to be vast and open. And as you're kind of discussing the ship, at first you can kind of see a silhouette of what appears to be like an old like style like rocket ship, from like science fiction, with like the weird kind of like fins that hold it off the ground. And then as like the communication is happening and you're kind of like unfolding what you really want, the shape in the mist changes, and you can see the sails unfurling. You can see that kind of shaping. And as the mist clears further, this is when Cross is kind of like focusing on it to make it change. And like the blink of an eye, cannons are being displayed. The hull, which was wooden, is now more of like an Ironside ship. And we're looking at more of kind of like a science fiction steampunk device of this merged imagination.
Cool. And it also matches. I'm sorry, Kimmy. What's your avatar's name?
Xavier.
Xavier's kind of vibe as like a swashbuckler is sort of matched with this.
There's
And maybe
so many
Xavier is
ropes.
the captain.
There's so many ropes to swing from.
So I would say too, like Xavier definitely has kind of like an icon, a symbol. Like there's like a vibe to it. Like we discussed, like Zorro, Tuxedo Mask. There's something that kind of denotes these characters as the thing, right? Tuxedo Mask, the rose. Zorro, the Z on the wall. What would Xavier's be? I like the gas.
Because she wouldn't have a sword. She wouldn't have. Huh?
Oh no, sorry.
She wouldn't have a.
gas. Go ahead.
Oh, because she wouldn't have a weapon. She wouldn't have anything like that. So it would almost kind of. She wouldn't use a flower.
The hat. The mask.
Yeah.
The
It
mask.
would be the mask. It would be the mask.
So like black sails, right? But with like a white mask, or if it's a black mask, then reverse it. White sails, black mask.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then the ship is kind of this steampunk horror of like armor plating and cannons. And then like it probably still has like vestigial elements of the rocket ship, as it was described, but like very not seen. Like kind of underneath the water. Like once it starts sailing into the dreamscape, if someone were seeing the ship from a side point of view, it'd have like the old style like 50 science fiction fins on the bottom. Love it. Now the goal is to bombard and enter into Faye's dreamscape and then engage with her in it. Now, something you would know is that obviously in your own dreamscape, you have more power than you would in someone else's. But there are 4 of you, and there's 1 of her. So, I guess my next question then is there anything that you want to add to it before we roll an engagement roll? If not,
Add to the ship, or just add to the
plot,
dream.
the narrative that we've got so far. Yeah.
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Then we go to engagement. So, an engagement roll is pretty simple. We take a look and pay attention to what we've kind of set up in the scene. There's always hope. Protagonists will always have 1d for an engagement roll. Is this mission particularly heroic or noble? I'd say so. You're trying to save a very large swath of people, so +1 dice as well. Is this mission following through on details from the protagonist's investigation? Yes. You understand that her bastion is the field. It is not where she is at. It is where she is swarming everyone to, so +1 dice as well. Does this mission determine the fate of a friend? Great question. Is Faye a friend to anyone present?
I think I would still be the object of her desire, right?
Right, but would
And
you?
I don't
regard her as a friend.
So I don't consider her a friend, but does
No.
she consider me a friend?
No,
right?
so it's the fate of a friend
Okay.
of yours.
Yeah.
But they like you.
I don't think then. Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, nobody's directly linked to Faye anymore. That makes sense. You all broke away in kind of a poor situation. Are troubles from the protagonist's mundane lives getting in the way of this mission? No, not really. Does the mission tier exceed the current tier of the investigation track? No, you beat the shit out of it with your investigation. You did great. Are there any other elements that we want to consider? You have an awesome boat. So 1, 2, 3. So you'll have plus 3 dice for your engagement roll. So there's just a base 1 dice and then 3 dice besides. I believe the engagement roll's on the protagonist sheet, but I could be wrong. Does anybody know where that's located?
I think it's on the protagonist sheet.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
I
I
don't
can't find it.
see it.
Oh,
Okay. Is there a fortune roll anywhere on the sheet? On your sheets?
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the character sheets.
Okay,
Yeah.
so pick the representative for the group. And then have them roll fortune roll. And
I'll do it. I'll do it. I always avoid doing these,
You'll have
so I
3
might
dice.
as well. Okay, so rolling fortune and adding
3 bonus.
3 dice.
Okay.
3, 5, 3.
There should have been a total of 4. That's weird. It didn't base 1. Go ahead and roll 1 more d6. Actually, re-roll it if you want to. Either way is fine.
All right, I'll just roll again.
It should be a total of 4 dice. I don't know why I didn't have the 1.
Total of 4.
Okay.
6, 2, 5, 1. I don't know what that means.
So we cut to the action. Based on the outcome of the engagement roll, we already know how the initial stages of the mission have gone. Engagement roll outcomes function similarly to any other roll. We don't care about the other numbers, we care about the 6. Good result. You did not roll double 6s, so you're in a controlled position when the action starts. Things are going as planned, and the protagonists are setting the tempo. So the desire was, per your planning, big boat, fly boat into Faye's world, bombard the edges of it, and enter into the space and occupy it. Basically creating a section of her world that is the boat, and kind of entering into the world as yourselves. I believe that's more than fair. So we'll discuss her zone of interest, her dreamscape. It is an open, white blankness on initial viewing. And upon bombardment and breaking of the exterior and entering into it, you realize that it is a city street, very densely occupied with a bunch of white-faced, glowing white-faced people. Like, their entire continents is just this strange spectral thing that's wearing clothing. They don't seem to have like any kind of features or anything identifying. They're just humanoid-shaped blobs in attire. You very quickly kind of make the scene, and these visions of people, these humanoid shapes, kind of break away. And as you kind of land off the ship, I'll have you describe what your altar looks like as it basically jumps into the scene in its combat-ready form. Starting, of course, with Elizabeth. Muted.
How dare you?
Sorry. This is an anime scene. You are literally like big ship flying through like the green space in the mist. It starts shooting at this strange white wall, breaks through, these strange figures start piercing away, and as they're kind of parting, you're kind of landing where they were parting from.
I feel like she would be
Oh, sorry. I want to make sure too.
like at the
I'm going to grant you a bonus on how over the top this description is, so I want to make sure you understand. Like, if you are a fan of anime, this is the time to be a dork. This is why I'm starting with Elizabeth, because I am hopeful she can kind of set the bar very fucking high, and you guys will have no chance of attaining that.
No pressure, no pressure.
No pressure. No pressure. Like I'm talking JoJo poses. You technically have a stand with Deed. Like there's crazy shit that could be happening here.
No.
True.
We're doing Ginyu Force poses.
No.
So I feel like she is coming in with as like I think Queen makes the most sense.
No, so I want to make sure you're both.
Or
You don't have to be one or the other. You're both. Like you can have Deed with you, or Deed can just be gone.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think like Queen is kind of like the highlight right now.
For sure.
I mean, she's always the highlight, but like she's yeah, she's like literally and figuratively the highlight of the moment, and I feel like she's been steering the ship in, and she is at the helm? No, not the helm.
Sure.
The bow of the front of the ship. And she's like they're as they break through this like white mist of wall, and seeing all these figures, she's how far up are we?
Don't worry about that. You tell me.
Cool. I'm like imagining her almost just like almost leaping off of the ship into this city street, and like I guess landing like hero pose, not like hero pose, but like the like fist down, kind of like squat land. If that makes
She's
sense.
doing the landing. She's doing the
Yeah.
landing.
Okay. So yeah, boom, slams in, jumps out like right at the front, right at the breach. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and
Like
have
we're ready to roll.
whoever's next wants to go ahead and describe their magical girl jump down and posing for the initiation of the fight.
I imagine that it's very upsetting for Cross to see his rival hop out first. So it very quickly is going to like grab a rope and swing off the boat. So that way I can kind of hop over top of Mole and land directly in front of Mole to take the lead position.
I love it. Do you also do a superhero landing?
Wow.
No. I land almost as straight as I can, like a gymnast, and turn and just like give the poser look.
Okay. Hey.
We're in a dreamscape. What are you doing?
So like Kid kind of like throws the hands out to the side in a T pose as like as Mole's getting up. I'm sorry, not Mole. What's the alter state for Mole?
Queen.
Queen. We just talked
Queen.
about it. I'm so dumb. So as like Queen, as Queen is kind of rising up, and you're kind of like taking your posture. Who's next?
I want to see him do that cool.
Huh?
No, you're not. No, you're not. My bad.
I want to see him do that cool swing with the rope. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And then I'm gonna emulate it, but then because she can fly, when she's done, she's gonna float down and lightly touch, touch down.
So like you've got Cross like flying like a rock, flies up in the air and then lands like perfect, like sticks the landing, right? And then you've got, oh, that's cool, and you're like flying right behind. I assume like as you're flying, there's like like flower petals or something flying off or something crazy like that, and then whoosh up into the air, and then just like a slow descent like Princess Peach and Mario.
Yeah, so slow.
And like the cape up and like the hands ready to fight, and then landing kind of near there. And then last but not least,
Yeah, I think like the Princess Peach float is very much Lafania's style. Just kind of like the wind just kind of carries her skirt and it kind of billows up and she just sort of drifts down bloom, next to
As you
the
land
team.
into position, I'm going to ask you a question as a group. Do you wish to fight her and stop her forever? Or do you wish to fight her and stop her and possibly redeem her? Again, there's your starting intent. It can change later on if you see that it's not going to go the way you think it is. But right now, in the controlled position, it is very much your choice.
I
Redemption,
have
redemption.
the ability Old Loyalties. The group's adversaries are not immediately hostile towards you, and you can interact with them as peers.
Perfect. So that's a great start. So as you land,
So
and as the
yeah.
next beat that I was going to kind of describe is about to happen, instead of focusing on the crew for very long, as you kind of land in your cool poses, we look back at the crowd as it's parting, and down the street from you, there's a four-way intersection, and as it kind of breaks away, standing in the center of that four-way intersection is a woman that appears to be drawn in midair by pure light. And you would know this altar to be Faye. This is Blair's altar. And she looks out to you. How presumptuous. You think that I care that you enter into this place? My task is already set. My mission is already near completion. You wish to stop me? Or join me?
I think we just wish to talk.
A hell of an entry for a conversation.
It got your attention.
Fair.
It doesn't have to be this way.
You said you're near completion, not at completion.
Keep
There's
talking.
still time.
Keep talking.
Assuming that the longer we talk, the sooner your plan will come to fruition.
Only time will tell.
We don't want to have to fight you here, Faye. It seems rude.
You breach into my dreams, utilizing techniques I showed you. You enter into this space and tell me that I am not right set in my path as it nears its terminus. And you expect me to what? Lay down? Like a cat and present my belly to you? No, really, should we do it? Belly.
Speaking of cat bellies.
Is that
It
what
takes
you... Good.
Faye, you don't know me. I'm a stranger to you. I have to say that it takes a real bond, true intimacy for a friend to stand up to another friend when things are going wrong. That's what this is. This is an act of deep caring from what's your avatar, Zach?
Ross.
Cross.
No, I'm sorry. I'm logging. Oh, Cross. I'm lagging, sorry. Cross
That's okay.
and Queen here. Um,
You don't know me. You were right when you said that. You could have left it there and stopped your dribbling blather. They're not my friends.
Okay.
I want Cross for reasons that I don't think you have an understanding of. I tell you, though, if you fight me, you choose one path. If you let me do as I please, you choose another. There is always a third way. You could just not care. And when she says that, all of the faces of the kind of like strange people around you start kind of glowing bright white, and it seems they all start turning their attention towards you, and the kind of throngs of people who have been pushed to the extremities of this packed city street against walls of buildings are kind of slowly starting to ebb forward. At this point, I'm going to ask the question I asked before, and I want to make sure that we understand. I did give you an opportunity to talk. It just didn't really have much for sell, unless somebody wants to sell me on not fighting you right now.
Don't have a good argument.
Yeah, no,
Right now.
right? It's punch the shit out of her. Like it's punch the shit out of her o'clock. That's what we do in magical girl shows. But
I mean, sometimes they do talk.
they will be engaging with you. What I will say is at this point, for those of you who, because I think everybody but Elizabeth has played Forged in the Dark, right? So you're not going to say, I make an attack roll or I'm going to make a skill check. I don't give a shit about that. You're going to tell me what you're doing, and then I'm going to ask you, what action do you think justifies that? You're going to choose one of the actions under one of your attributes. So one of those things. And that's going to be how you fight me. And again, it can be anything, because we are in a dreamscape and you are literally making shit up. And also making shit up at the same time. It's crazy. But the current hindrance to you, the thing that is going to be barring you, is this throng of what appear to be people that are kind of marching in on you. Oh, and sorry, one more time. Do you wish to bring her to a point where she can be redeemed, or at this point do you think she's beyond redemption? And I think this question is mainly for the gate keep tricks.
The gate what?
The gate keep tricks.
Gatekeep tricks. That's my that's my title.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I against reason and by the logic of the dream, I want her redeemed, and that will be my I will push for that, even if others disagree with me.
Okay. So what I'll say at that is you do feel a very
still in
strange
agreement.
pang of something missing, like something's off. When you kind of settle into that, as you're being engaged by these faceless things, you feel this strange sense of like something is missing, something is off. Okay. So action scene. They're kind of coming at you, these weird faceless things. Again, just describe what you want to do and then tell me what action you want to do and we'll roll it.
Okay, I'll go.
Yeah.
I feel what I said before is my person's not very violent, but I do feel like if it's okay, she would have like a superpower of like push. Because she doesn't want to ever hurt anybody, and she doesn't want to put her hands on anybody. So it'd be like a push ability. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if someone were to come close enough, that's what she would like enforce. Is like, but I feel like she doesn't have a big range of it. So like when she pushes, it's only gonna be like one or two.
Sure. You're mainly just trying to kind of keep them away from you and your friends. So in that,
Yes.
I'm going to give you a suggestion as to which action I think that is, but you can again determine it in any other way. I think it would be defy, like you're defying the force that's coming at you. So you're going to go ahead and make a defy roll, and there's no bonuses being added here unless somebody wishes to assist Kimmy's character in that process. You can add 1 stress to yourself, and then Kimmy would get an additional dice.
I have a special ability called Working from the Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
When you secretly set up another character's action, roll +1d. If they succeed, mark XP. Can I do that?
So I would say that like the situation as it stands, you're not really wanting to be very violent, which you've stated. So I would say that like kind of pushing past the throne to get to her is not really an objective you've really set yet up until this point. So I would say not yet, but definitely something to think about for like other people's actions as they move forward. Because Kimmy's character, Margot, the alter, kind of move forward and is immediately superhero, right? Superheroine, just like I'm gonna knock
Mm-hmm.
these things back. It's impulse
Mm-hmm.
for like her dream state is this shit. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let's see it. Defy.
Position, risky, control, desperate,
You
fortune.
guys are in a
Fortune.
control position. You are currently winning it out. Yeah, you came in and you have Faye on the back foot. And then what was the
Okay.
last? It should be standard for the result.
Oh, it's only the choices are risky, control. Oh, you said standard. Okay, I didn't click the next one.
Yeah, we'll go controlled
Standard,
and
got
then
it.
standard.
Oh, transcendent, no or yes.
I don't know what that means.
Transcendent, it means like we're in our like magical girl state.
You're in your magical
I
girl
think-
state,
Yeah.
so transcendent, yeah.
Okay. Bonus dice 0. Okay.
All right. So a 5, which is a success, but with slight setback. So as you kind of move forward, as you said, you're kind of like not sure that you can handle all of them at once. Pulse, one of them flies like up into the air 30 feet, slams into a wall. This next one comes up, you kind of push them down, they fall to the ground with like a sudden kind of smash, right? And you're realizing as you're doing it, you kind of like pause for a second because they're moving like people and they feel like souls against the kind of edges of your magical powers. And what you realize is that they are souls. Wait, no, they're not. And as you're kind of like throwing them back with that hesitation, a few of them actually get their hands onto you and like are holding onto you. They've got like the edges of your cape. One of them has like your shin. You're being kind of clambered on by these things. And as we move into the next person's action, I'm going to kind of reveal something. In the kind of vision of the gatekeep tricks, there's a moment where you realize that the souls that are kind of present before you, or these things that are kind of present before you, are all wearing clothing. And there's this moment where you kind of stop for a second and kind of almost cry out because you realize you recognize the clothes that they're wearing. You had to tear it off of the corpses of bodies before with scalpel and blade. These are the people that served her to death. These are the people who were willing to go all the way to the end to serve her, whose dreams didn't allow them to pass into the gate. It does look as though Margot's altar is currently being swarmed by them. And again, anybody can take an action at any point.
Can I speak? I mean, I'm guessing
Yeah.
speaking is doesn't
Yeah,
take
absolutely.
up. Yeah, so I would say, these are the people that have been lost to her plan. I don't know what's keeping them locked here, but this is wrong. This is
A chilling laugh
too far.
A chilling laugh comes out of the throng of people or things, and you can hear it is Faye's voice, and she says, "They still serve me eternally." And you can almost see, like, from the glowing of their faces and their bodies, her shadow in silhouette on all of the buildings around her, kind of leaning back, cackling with like these clawed fingers. At this point, does the thing I asked you twice now change?
Yeah.
From seemingly nowhere, with the force of just a comet, the gate itself appears in this dreamscape, slamming behind your group in station. The force of it moving into this space does not touch you, but it throws back the things that are holding on to Margot's altar, clearing her of it for a second as you kind of realize this is now where we get serious. Since Kimmy has acted, and in a sense, Sapakli, you have acted. If you want to take an action, though, you can. But of course, Zach and Elizabeth.
I want to do take an action. I want to try to take a flow action.
Okay. Well, just describe what you're doing,
no.
and then tell me how flow.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Never mind. It may not be flow. So basically, it might be empathize.
Sure. Don't worry about the.
So I want.
Yeah. Just tell me what it is.
I want to like start a draining of these kind of disembodied dreams and get them flowing into the gate to sort of drain her power a little bit.
I love that. So flow is good. I like that. It could also, again, if you're willing to, maybe move towards analyze, because you are. No, I like flow. I like flow, and the reason why I like flow is because you understand the nature of what goes into the gate and what doesn't. And the reason why it's not possible for them to move is because you empathize with them. They're no longer based on their dream. They're based on the destruction of their dream. If you want to do empathize, you can do that.
Or flow. Controlled.
Controlled for sure.
Effect standard.
One above standard. I can't ever remember what it is, and I think they changed it from
standard, limited, great, extreme, 0.
Great.
Okay. Transcendent, yes. Bonus dice, 0, right?
Mm-hmm. And real quick before you. Oh, too late.
Good. Already clicked.
Well, we may have an extra dice here, so I want to pause for a second because you have technically 0 dice in that. You'll have to take the lower of the 2 of those. What I'm going to ask though is, does anybody seeing the situation kind of as it arises wish to help, and do you wish to push yourself to do this? Like, is that something you feel motivated to do?
Yeah, I would push myself.
So you'll gain 2 stress for the push, and if anybody wishes to aid you, they can gain 1 stress just to help.
Can I aid? Oh, go, Elizabeth.
I was just asking if, just clarifying. So she is pushing. Colleen is pushing these people in the dream into the gate.
Yeah, her altar is.
Right?
Absolutely.
Guiding them.
Okay. Her altar is.
And your help can be multifaceted. Like, you can definitely be kind of like, trying to do the same psychologically, or if Kimmy were the one who were helping, like, her altar could be grabbing them and throwing them into it, right? The same's true of like Cross.
Right. So can we have like a brief flashback?
Yeah.
Where like you've all sat around a table and talked about your experiences in the dream, and so that this gate, this is where people's dreams go after they're dead. So
I do have a question about the character sheets because I'm not as familiar with this system. On special abilities, I have one that's pipped.
Yeah.
Is that the special ability that I have, or do I have all of them?
You have the pipped one.
The pipped one. Okay. I will help.
Okay.
I think.
And Kimmy, do you want to as well?
My special ability is for group actions.
Okay. So this wouldn't be considered a group action. This is you helping. Very different.
Oh, okay.
There will be group actions here in a second, but yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to have Kimmy just help?
Sure.
Okay. So Kimmy, go ahead and gain a stress, and then Sapakli, you'll be adding 2 dice to your empathy roll. Since we already rolled it, what that means is you started with 0 dice, you have 2 dice. So instead of looking at as take the lower of the 2, we take the higher of the 2, which is a 6. Which means you start kind of pulling them away, and you kind of look over to Kimmy's altar and kind of like look at her for help, and she kind of rushes over to grab them and like pulses them up into the gate. Some of them closer to the gate are easier for you to kind of like swat in, but Kenny isn't really able to kind of like put them in. Like the course of going over is you kind of feeling in a motive state with them. So the two of you are able to work together and getting them clustered near and towards it, and focused in that way. Actions for Zach and for Elizabeth. What are your two characters doing while this is happening?
My initial like gut reaction is trying to go straight towards Faye
Mhm.
and like not like grappling her. I guess it is kind of a grapple, but like embracing her somehow.
Okay. And how do you want to get to
Because
her?
um like my brain automatically goes towards like a streak of light
Love it.
um towards Faye, just like flying straight past these people.
And with that, you're kind of trying to embrace her and kind of like create an emotional bond, or kind of like detach her away
Yeah.
from her kind of maniacalness. What of the actions are you thinking about running here?
Honestly, kind of like either empathizing or forgiveness,
Your choice.
because the this character's very like thinking of the best of people and trying to bring that out of them.
Mhm.
And like I feel like Mole is still in the like we can still like help her.
Yeah. So go ahead and give me a
So I
forgiveness
think
roll,
maybe
or forgive roll.
forgiveness.
Yeah, give me a forgive roll.
Can I help with that?
I would say that you normally could, because it is your rival. I'm going to say there's a limiter here. So what that means
Okay.
for you is you can help, but it'll cause you 2 stress.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So you have
And
+1
is
dice for
it
help.
okay? And is it controlled?
It's controlled. Yeah, you guys are in controlled position throughout, unless it shifts, and it hasn't yet.
Okay, it didn't ask me about. Is it standard,
It will be
limited,
a
great,
great
extreme,
great
0?
result.
Great. And then transcendent,
Yep.
yes. And then 1 bonus die.
Unless you want to push. Pushing will add 2 stress to you, and you'll get +1 more dice.
Okay. And where do I add the stress?
Stress is on the left side, down towards the left middle. It's kind of like a pinkish color, and a little side tracker
middle.
left to right.
Oh, okay, I see. And it's just 2 pips?
That'll be 2 pips, yep.
Okay. I will push.
Okay, so you should have perfect. So that's a critical success, because you rolled 2 6s. So what happens here is you kind of like, I need to get to her. I just need to get to her, and you see Cross kind of like. And what do you say in response to that, Cross? As you kind of commit to like the bit, you're gonna help.
I'll distract the crowd and try to move them out of the way
So
by shouting them along.
Cross kind of bulldozes through as much as like
Yeah.
you can, and then like at that moment you kind of see a webway kind of like through the area, of like very narrow but decent enough for your light form, and you kind of just become like a bolt of like golden like light and move towards Faye. Her maniacal laughing stops as you kind of grab a hold of her and embrace her, and you kind of just like whisper something into her ear as a like a means of forgiveness. And what do you say to her?
She would say that I don't have the exact like awesome words
No
that she
worries.
would say, but it would be something along the lines of like, you've created all this, but I know that you've lost your like original meaning or original like goal. Like you lost the
You lost the
intention.
plot.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, you see her body kind of like quake under your hug, and then she kind of just starts kind of like violently kind of pushing outwards, and she pushes you back. But what you notice is that there does appear to be kind of like a weakened state in her form that seems to have left some sort of kind of effect on her that has caused her to waver. But when she throws you back, you kind of fall back and you expect to slam into the crowds that were behind you, but they're gone. And when you kind of get thrown back, those who are not directly on there watch as all of the blue lights kind of fade into this kind of mist that ejects outwards. Cross, you're like in the middle of throwing one away to like kind of get back to where you started, and it just becomes mist. Same would be true of I keep forgetting your alter's name. I'm so sorry, Kimmy.
Xavier.
Xavier. Got it.
It's okay.
Xavier's kind of like, very elegantly tossing one up into the air, and before it hits the gate, it just becomes mist, as do all the other ones around it. And the other effect that you notice, and it's something that's very kind of strange that you didn't see before because of the crowds, but the city street is perfectly symmetrical on both sides. Buildings, four-way street, everything is an exact mirror of itself on the opposite side. And as you cause her to break, the balance shifts. Buildings on the left invert and are now these strange pits of a thing, like a building gutted out from its core, and all of the outward portions of the building kind of flaring out and away. The buildings on the right start to crack from the inversion, this distortion of it. The entirety of the plane that you're standing on, which is flat and structured, warps downwards, causing the boat to start to slip backwards. The gate remains present in the air, but everything else seems to kind of bend outwards and away from her. And she's screaming, and her form is changing from this kind of light distortion to more of this dark, shadowy frame. This is the first time that you've seen the horizon of her dreamscape, and you notice that when you entered, it was like this light wall that was around her. That has broken. You have flown through dream space, and you've seen raw dream space. It's this stuff of gray, like a mist, but kind of like this very strange kind of fog that's kind of present when like you have like a very lucid dream, but you wake up in the morning and you can't really remember it. It's like the physical embodiment of that mentality. Strangely, in the fog, you see what looks like a shape, similar to when you were shaping the ship. And it's just on the outreach, or on the horizon, or right there, like on the actual, like, touchable, tangible parts. And it appears to be the shape of a man, massive in size, with a strange kind of reflection of, like, a pair of glasses in the mists, seemingly watching you and staring at you as that's happening. She rages, and her world breaks. At this point, everybody's kind of acted in a sense. Is there anything that you wish to do at this point to engage with her and either finish her or perhaps not? How do you want to move forward with this engagement?
You can fix it, Faye.
I mean, I'm kind of, giving a side eye to Eve, kind of like, that's your friend, girl.
Yeah, so Eve will step up and yell to Faye that I don't know what Queen said, but I want you to know that there's still an opportunity for forgiveness and for friendship. I'm still here. I'm still the same.
What action are we playing here?
Express?
Okay. And you're kind of doing this as the world's kind of reshaping around you.
Yes. And I'm hoping to express an opportunity for forgiveness and understanding and relationship again.
Mhm. So
Position.
position is controlled. Actually, no, we're going to shift it. You're kind of in a situation where it's a little bit more desperate. So one step below controlled.
Is that risky or desperate? No, desperate.
Desperate. Yeah, they should be in order.
They're not.
Fucking
They're
hell.
not.
No, it
And then
risky is above desperate. So yeah, it's go controlled, risky, desperate. Desperate is bad times. Like this is last ditch.
Oh.
Okay.
and so it's
that's a
risky
that's a
and
critical
effect
success.
is standard, or
Did you?
I didn't roll it.
That's
No. That's the last one. You didn't tell me the effect.
effect is
Standard,
going to
limited,
be
great,
extreme
cool.
because you're trying kind of for something very difficult to do.
Transcendent, yes.
Yes, we are transcendent.
Bonus dice 0.
Unless you're getting assistance. No. Okay. Cool.
I rolled a 5.
Yeah. So this is a situation where you have a choice.
Mhm.
You have succeeded, but there is a negative effect. What you realize in this moment is that this dreamscape is held by her, but seems to be being watched by some entity greater and more powerful than even her. Like she has made some sort of bargain, and she seems to be on the failing side of that. This dreamscape is faltering. If she folds and she joins you, she will be taken by that entity from this place. Period. The only way that you would be able to stop her from doing so is by taking her place. Now, of course, there's a lot of information to take in the first or the next few seconds, as the wind is kind of rushing through and everything's kind of reshaping itself around you, the very existence you stand in. So I want you to take a second and think about it. Eve, or rather Cross, could rush forward, move her from the center of this realm, and be subject to the whims of whatever this spectacled entity is. Or you can allow for her to break because of your words, because you know she's going to, and then immediately cause this dreamscape to falter and her be taken up by it. It's your choice.
I feel like one of my altar's virtues is my altar's virtue is literally bravery, and it seems cowardly not to take on that position.
Okay.
Just
So
regardless of who I'm taking it on for.
You would see Cross kind of pulling himself up like the ridge and kind of yell out that. And just as you see like the bending of Faye, everybody would note that that's the case. You would see Cross apparently moving to interject himself into that place. Everybody has agency. Do you wish to stop Cross, knowing that it could potentially lead to Cross's interference in this implosion of this dreamscape, or do you let it happen?
I think maybe let it happen.
What
That's
does I have an ability called Watchful. When you protect an ally, take 1d to the resistance roll. When you gather info to anticipate possible threats in the current situation, you gain +1 effect level.
Yeah, so that 100% will take precedent here because there will be a roll that you're going to need to make if you're taking an action to intercede and stop Cross. Now, Cross will be cross with you, probably, after the fact.
Yeah,
But
I'm a guardian role. I feel like I wouldn't.
okay, so if you're going for it, you're going to be taking the harm that he would be taking instead. Now, I want to make sure that we clarify too. Are you intercepting before he even gets to Faye, or are you taking his place, pushing Faye aside and taking the middle line?
Pushing Faye aside and taking the middle one.
Okay, and then last but not least, Sapakli. You see it all happening. You're the only one who hasn't acted, and of course, we are only running.
Wait.
This
So I'm seeing
Cross is ready to take Faye's position at the center point of this
Okay.
dreamscape and basically become subject to the whims of whatever that is in the mist.
yeah, right.
And then you watch as Zakia kind of moves to intercept and push Faye aside and push Cross aside and take that position herself.
Is
We're
there
all
a
fighting
world?
for it.
Well, is there a world where Faye is simply destroyed and nobody has to take her place?
Yeah, there is a world where that happens.
Okay. I want to make that happen. I don't want
So,
two people I
again,
care about
There's no
to
mechanic.
become destroyed.
There's no
Right.
mechanics.
But I'm saying, like,
Hold
I
on.
want to do that.
How do you do that?
Uh-huh.
I've given you powers to do that.
Oh, okay. I see. So I just want to open a couple of gates right in front of these two fools who are rushing to their doom, and I'm gonna like gate them to 3 miles behind me, and like it's like playing Portal or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm gonna do.
So you kind of raise your fists up and kind of like release your hold on the world and kind of create those gates. They appear in front of them and they kind of fly into them haphazardly like fools as Faye breaks. And as you're kind of falling down and away from this space, you would see that Mole is kind of holding on to the position. But Mole, you would see that the Gatekeetrix is falling away from this realm into the mists beyond. Do you wish to stay here and watch what happens with Faye? Or do you wish to fall and kind of enter into the void with her and maybe find your way away from this place? Maybe the ship's down there. You don't know or when. What would you like to do? You're just the last one on scene that I have to kick out. Or keep. Elizabeth?
Sorry, what?
You're the last one on scene. Mole
I thought that I had already made a choice.
Yeah, you didn't jump away or anything. You're holding on, right? So
Yeah.
you see the Gatekeetrix like raise both of her fists, create two gates.
Yeah.
The other slam into it, and then she falls away. Are you falling after the Gatekeetrix, or are you going to watch what happens to Faye? Are you staying locked onto this world, or are you jumping off into the void?
I think she would stay in the world
Okay. So
with Faye.
you would watch as Faye breaks from what was said to her, and then her friends get taken from her by these gates that appear, and her body just kind of drops as she moves from the center position of the realm. Everything that you're standing on, everything that's around you kind of breaks into particulate and becomes this gray mist that all kind of pushes inwards towards her. From the mist, you see a hand appear, massive in size, and grab her violently. There's like a smashing sound as it takes a hold of her and then pulls her into the mist. A few moments later, you realize you're in this kind of blank gray space. The Gatekeetrix makes it back to the ship. Where did you gate the others off to? Their own worlds or yours?
Their own worlds, let's say.
Okay. Robbed of their agency, they stand in their worlds, obviously a bit taken aback by that engagement, realizing that the person that they wished to save was left to whatever would happen to them. No known witnesses of what happened to her.
Okay. Does that mean we've lost Mole?
Do you try and find Mole?
Like Mole is lost? Yeah, I would try to find Mole. I'm back at the ship.
Okay. So as you kind of maneuver inside of this kind of gray space, lights on, manifested onto the decks, kind of searching for her.
Mhm.
That presence looming in the dark is there with you, watching. You then see, floating in the mists, body, a figure. But it isn't Queen. It is Mull.
Hmm.
Like, it's not the altar. It is a person.
Not transcended.
In the dreamscape.
Okay.
You bring her on board, and you revert back to where you end. And due to the time, unfortunately, we can't spill into the aftermath. So, like a very cool episode of a Magical Girl show, it ends on a cliffhanger. What happens next? Thanks for watching. I had a lot of fun with it. We are going to go ahead and close it out. And maybe we'll do another one of these again, keeping up with the same characters or what have you. I do know that we like the Forged in the Dark games around here, so we'll probably be playing a lot more of them. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.